Gradfam, it happened. The triplets are here. You guys, it actually happened. Like, I don't know what to say. Dama gave birth to the triplets. We now have 5 kids, and I wasn't even here to see them be born.
Hey guys, we're so happy and excited that the babies are finally here, even though they were born early at 30 weeks.
Yeah, so early that I wasn't even here to see it.
Yeah.
I was at work, and we were expecting them next week. So I thought, hey, because they kept telling us what, like 32 weeks, right? They kept saying 32 weeks.
One of the doctors kept saying that I can make it for sure to 32 weeks, like 98% chance. So we thought it was safe for him to go to work this last week because we didn't think it was gonna happen.
Yeah, because I'm a truck driver, so when I go out and do, like a run, I usually go to South Texas and back up here to Michigan. That takes me about 6 days. And the doctor kept saying, oh, wow, she had been on bed rest for like 2 weeks. She's like, oh, she's doing great. She'll make it to 32 weeks for sure. So I'm thinking, okay, I might as well go do a run, come back, and still make it in time for the birth. And, I had this feeling. I was like, what if just maybe while I'm gone she has the babies? But I was like, no, I'm sure it's going to be fine. And of course, right, when I'm gone, the funniest thing is, Thursday morning, the day she gave birth, remember when you called me in the morning and you were like, she pranked me. She's like, oh, I'm gonna give birth today.
I forgot about that.
She's like, I'm gonna give birth today, and I was like, no way, stop. And she's like, no, I'm serious.
I was texting him and telling him hey, doctor said I'm gonna have my C-section today. It's happening today on Thursday, and he was like, no, you're lying. Tell them to wait. Ask them if they can please wait, so I can be there. And I was like, babe, I don't think they can. I don't think they can wait.
And after 10 or 15 minutes, then she's like, oh, I'm just joking. Oh, it's a prank. And I was like, wow, I can't believe you.
Yeah, it was obviously a joke. I had no idea it was going to happen on Thursday.
Yeah, and then not even 3 or 4 hours later, she calls me again. Oni, they're prepping me for C-section. I'm like, okay, Dama, joke's worn out.
Yeah. First, I wanted to get into detail how it happened. I was on bed rest from May 2nd to May 16 on Thursday. And that morning, I had an appointment for ultrasound. So they brought me down with a wheelchair to the ultrasound. But before the ultrasound, they checked me to see if I was dilated more. And I was actually like still kind of the same, 4.5 centimeters dilated, like almost a 5. They take me down to ultrasound, they check all the Dopplers on the brain, and all the babies actually turned, they all went with head up, they went breech, all head up and feet down. And during the ultrasound, I started to get this uncomfortable, like constant pressure pushing down. At first, I was like, okay, I'm gonna wait and see if it goes away. And throughout the whole ultrasound, the pain and pressure was still there. It wasn't going away. So after the ultrasound, the doctor comes and talks to me, and he's like, well, they're all breech now, and the Dopplers aren't looking as good as they were last week. And he said nothing like to worry about yet. So he was telling me that he thinks I can make it like another week. And then I told him about the constant pain and pressure that I was having. And he's like, oh, that means you might be dilating. He was like, okay, so I'm gonna take you back up to the room and we're gonna check you again, see if you dilated even more. And we come back up to the room and they check me again, and I dilated to 6 centimeters. And
before that you were at 4?
I was like 4.5, like almost a 5. So like within a few hours, it went up to 6 centimeters, and the pain and pressure was still there. So
and it was getting worse, right?
It was getting worse. There was no way to stop it. I just kept dilating. And there was actually 2 doctors in here, and as soon as he checked me and he saw that I was 6 centimeters, they look at each other and they're like, well, like this really changes things. And they sit there and like they're just like thinking of what to do, and they're like, you might have to go for a C-section today.
And what went through your head when they said that?
And when they said that, at first, like it wasn't a for sure thing, so I was like really scared and like nervous. And I was like, man, like when he's not here, I was like, it can't happen today. He's not here. Like I really want him to be here. Like I don't want to do this alone. And
because you never had C-section. So
yeah, the other 2 were vaginal.
Never even had any like sort of surgery ever.
Yeah, this was my first surgery. And then the doctor starts explaining to me why I would have to go into C-section that day. And he's like, well, the babies are still really small right now, 2-3 pounds, and they're all breech, and I was dilating. It was opening more, and he's like, the baby's body is smaller than their head, so it's possible that most likely baby A can fall out with the body and umbilical cord at any time, and the head would be stuck, and baby A would basically choke and not make it.
So they literally mean like as you're sitting here, baby A, her body could come out with the umbilical cord and strangle her because her head wouldn't be able to come out with the rest of her body.
Yeah.
Like literally as you're laying in bed.
Yeah, he said it can happen, and it has happened to other people, other women. So he was telling me that it had to be done that day, or else it's a very high risk that we can lose baby A, which is Esther.
And we had already had other issues with Esther. At one point, she developed fluid around her heart that could have led to, I've heard of other infants even passing away from that after birth.
Yeah.
And luckily, thank God, the fluid just disappeared. Mm-hmm. And then she had other issues with the chambers of her heart, like not beating in sync. That just kind of fixed itself.
Yeah, the past 2 weeks, there were a few issues with her heart.
And so then when I heard about this, she called me right after. And then when I found out, I was driving somewhere through Texas, and she's like, yeah, they're gonna maybe do the C-section today. Well, not maybe, for sure. And so right away, I got on the phone, I called my boss, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna find somewhere to leave the truck. I'm gonna try to catch a flight out of Dallas, Fort Worth, and get back home as soon as possible, because I didn't, like, for me, missing the birth, like, there was no way like that I was gonna miss the birth. Like this entire channel I started for like this is like the pinnacle moment of this channel was filming the birth. Like it all revolves around this. And when I heard that it was gonna happen when I was gone, like, you guys have no idea the emotions that were going through me. I was going crazy.
Yeah.
And so
I was too.
I was looking online. I was about to buy tickets, literally. I was gonna buy a one-way ticket back to Michigan. And then the nurse walked in, and what did she tell you?
Well, at first when I called him, the doctor told me that it was gonna happen within the next 4 hours. So he probably could have made it like right on time.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually did ask them if they can wait for him to come back on Saturday and do the C-section then.
That's when I was regularly supposed to come back, if
Yeah.
it was Saturday.
Well, he was supposed to, well, today is Saturday, yeah. And then the doctor looks at me and he's like, oh no, like, that no can do, like, that's not possible. He was like, the C-section has to happen today. He said, or else, like, it's a high risk you lose one of the babies and you're left with only two. Because, like, if it doesn't happen today, you can lose baby A for sure. And right when he said that, I was, like, so scared. I was like, okay, like, I'm going to call Oni, tell him, let's hope he can get here on time. Because I didn't want to wait and risk losing Esther.
So then she called me, and then all that stuff that I just said happened.
Yeah.
And I was about to buy a ticket, and then the nurse comes in right then while we're still on the phone.
And she's like, okay, we're going to prepare you for C-section. You're going back in 30 minutes.
When I heard 30 minutes, like, I had like plane tickets.
He was on the phone, like it was on speaker,
Yeah.
so he heard.
And I was literally looking at plane tickets, like talking about like what flight I should take. And the nurse comes in and I hear, we're taking you back in 30 minutes. I was like, no way, like, come on, are you?
Yeah.
Like,
I was
man.
like so mad that he left on a load to do a load for that week. Because when he left, like, we had a feeling, like, what if it happens this week? What if it happens? Should he not go? But the doctors kept telling us that it was most likely not going to happen this week. But, you know, babies come when they want to come. So it wasn't planned. It was just an emergency. It just happened right then. Like, they checked me. I was 6 centimeters. And then within, like, 40 minutes, I was in the operating room. Like, they were cutting me open.
And she had me on the phone, like, up until the minute that they were wheeling her over to the OR.
Yeah.
And, like,
because I'm not allowed to be on the phone in there, obviously.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I started crying, she was crying. I was just telling her, babe, just be strong, like, don't worry. She was telling me how scared she was. And, like, I'm sitting there driving through Texas on the freeway, like, wanting to just pull over at the nearest exit, just leave the truck there, and, like, I don't know what I wanted to do. I was so angry and upset that I was gonna miss the, like, we're never gonna have triplets again. Like, come on.
This is a one-time thing.
And I missed it, dude.
3 babies, C-section. Like, this is only gonna happen once. It only happened once, and like, we're so upset that he missed it. And as soon as they told me it was happening in 30 minutes, I started crying. He started crying. We were both crying on the phone, and we were saying, like, I was just like, oh, like, honey, like, I wish you can be here. And he was like, I can't believe this. I'm gonna miss the birth of my triplets. Like, he was just so upset and devastated, and I was too. And he just, after that, he just tried to keep me strong. And he was like, honey, stay strong, have faith. Like, God is with you. Everything's gonna be okay. Like, I'm gonna be there as fast as I can. I'm gonna try and get there as fast as I can. And I was just so upset. Like, the nurses were coming in and out, preparing me, like, giving me, putting me, like, on fluids and magnesium oxide, giving me the catheter and all that. Like, they were just, everything was happening so fast. Like, I couldn't even think, like, right then, as they told me it was gonna happen in 30 minutes, I texted my family, because I wasn't able to, she said I wasn't able to call them. They were, like, trying to prepare me and everything, and it was, like, gonna distract them. So I texted everyone, and I was like, please pray, like, I'm going into C-section, like, within the next 30 minutes, it's happening, guys, I'm all alone. I was like, please pray for me, and that everything goes well, and the babies are healthy. And my husband was praying and trying to keep me strong. They got everything ready within 20 minutes, and then they took me to the OR on the bed. They wheeled me down there. And then right when I got in there, they put me on the, like, it's like a bed table. Yeah. It's like a really skinny bed. like a hard bed. As soon as they got me on there, they gave me the anesthetic, and it was actually 2 needles, but it goes like down in the back, and it's a longer needle than an epidural. It's longer, it goes like past the tissues, so it literally numbs like all the muscles and like everything, and it kicks in like right away within like 5-10 minutes. Like I couldn't feel my feet, I couldn't like feel my belly, like everything was just tingly and numb. And the doctor comes in, waits like another 5 minutes, makes sure that like I can't feel anything.
And how many nurses were in the room?
There were actually only like maybe like 15 or 10.
And tell them what you said you heard the nurses saying to each other.
Oh, the nurses were calling other nurses in the room, and they were telling them like this is like once in a lifetime thing. They're like, come on, get in here, like come see the birth of the triplets, like it's all girls, like you're never gonna see this again, like come in here, take a look. And
like when I heard that, when she told me after the fact, I was like, yeah, I know, like
like we were both counting on the birth of the triplets for so long. Like we were planning on filming the whole thing, not the part where they like cut, obviously where they cut it open, but we were planning to film it. But the thing is, the doctor actually told me even if he were here, we weren't allowed to film since the babies came at 30 weeks. They were way too tiny, and everything was just like rushed super fast. Like we wouldn't even have time to film. A nurse was kind enough to take us some photos of the operating room and of me and of the babies. And then I had to hang up the phone right after I entered in the operating room, and we were both crying, and he's like, I love you, stay strong, I'm praying that everything goes well. Like there was nothing we could have done. It was an emergency C-section. Like there was no way he could have made it, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I got in there, they numbed me, everything, and then within like 10-15 minutes, like they put the curtain up so I can't see anything, and I was like really scared and nervous, and I was just so scared. Like I was by myself, and like I know God was with me, and there were nurses, they were trying to like keep me calm, and they were holding my hand, and
something I should have been doing.
But the nurses were very kind and helpful, and thank you to all the nurses, to all the doctors who took part in it.
Yes, thank you to all the nurses and doctors who worked on my wife, watched over her the past 2 weeks, and successfully delivered our beautiful daughters. Thank you for taking care of her. And
yeah, they're beautiful. They're just so tiny and precious. And then they put the curtain up, and they don't tell you when they're gonna start, because then you get all like nervous and weird. So they just like started, and all of a sudden I feel like a bunch of pressure like in my tummy, like a bunch of pressure here, like pushing on my ribs, and they cut me like all the way at the bottom. They cut me like this way, and they cut me this way, and the cut is like probably like this long, so it's pretty big, but it was triplets, so
like probably like 9 inches.
Probably.
Yeah,
they had to cut it pretty big because there was 3 babies. And then the uterus, they actually cut down straight. So they had to cut it down straight this way. And they actually said, with all of my next pregnancies, they all have to be C-section no matter what, because of the way they cut the uterus down straight. So from now on...
So they cut her like on the flesh horizontally, and then the uterus was cut vertically.
Yeah,
so.
Yep. So from now on, when we have our next baby or more, I'll have to have C-section again, which is kind of scary. I've been through it once, and it's happened really quick. It's just the pain afterwards is like unbearable. The first day was horrible. I was so tired, I couldn't keep my eyes open. I felt so heavy, and everything was just so intense, and all the pain, like I just felt everything after the numbing wears off, of course. At first, I feel like a bunch of pressure. I'm laying on the operating table, and I feel a bunch of pressure, and I'm just like, I'm like, whoa, 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 that feels like so weird. I was like, I feel like a bunch of moving in my tummy, but I didn't feel any pain, just a bunch of pressure and like the moving and everything. And the nurse is like, okay, you know, that's totally normal. It's fine. You're going to be fine. They're just trying to take the babies out, you know, because they're breech and 2 of them are like really high up there. So they're just like trying to get them out safely. And it was just really weird. And I was scared like throughout the whole thing and nervous. And I was just like, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe this is happening. Like this morning, well, that Thursday morning, I never would have thought I would have had the babies that day. So I was like, you can imagine, like, you can imagine, I was like, I didn't know what to think. It just happened so quick. And first they took out baby A, and I heard a little cry. It was so cute, like the tiniest cry ever. But the thing is, like, I couldn't see them because they're so small. They had to rush the babies to the door, and there was a bunch of nurses outside of the room waiting to take the babies, put them in the incubator, and rush them to the NICU. So I wasn't even able to see them. And then after that, it took like, I don't know, like 15 minutes. They had to sew everything back up, so it took a while. And after that, they brought me back in the room, and I couldn't believe it was over. Like, I looked down at my tummy, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, my babies are gone. Like, they're out. They're not in there anymore. And the past 2 weeks have been like so hard to move. It's like, it was so hard with them in there, but it was very good that they stood in another 2 weeks.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like if she didn't have these past 2 weeks on bed rest, we could have possibly lost baby A, you know, with all the complications that she had, and you know, the fluid and the issues with the chambers of her heart. I have a feeling that if she wouldn't have had these past 2 weeks of bed rest, there's something terrible could happen to baby A.
Oh yeah, because at home, like, I was moving around a lot more, and I could have dilated like anytime. So it was good that I was here so they can keep an eye.
And how much did all the babies weigh when they were born?
Baby A, Esther, is weighing 2 pounds and 7 ounces. Baby B, Evelyn, is weighed 2 pounds and 14 ounces. Baby C, Eliana, weighs 3 pounds and 1 ounce. So she was the biggest.
Yeah.
And after that, the numbing took like 6 to 8 hours to wear off. And then after it wore off, they gave me like medication and stuff and asked me if I felt okay to go see the babies. And I was like, of course. Like, I felt terrible. Like, I felt so nauseous and so dizzy. And
after it was over, I called her, she called me, and she sounded like, barely talking, kind of like slurring her words, like just
dead. Like, I couldn't even move. I was just like, just like laying there.
And she was struggling so hard to like text her family back, text them
I
all,
kept
call.
falling asleep. I was trying to like text them all like everything's good, but I was like, it felt like I was like drunk or something. Seriously,
She's the strongest girl I know.
Thanks, honey. I'm so glad that he's back now. I like never want him to leave again because I was so upset that he wasn't here. And then after that, like I had them around like 3 p.m. on May 16 on Thursday. And then I was able to see them all the way like at 10 o'clock at night. I had to wait till I felt better and I was able to move my legs. They put me in a wheelchair because I couldn't even walk like at all. So they put me in a wheelchair and they brought me to them. And when I saw them, like, it just melted my heart. Like I didn't know, like, right when I saw them, I just felt so bad for how small they were. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're so tiny, they're so precious and small.
And by the way, I haven't even seen them yet.
He just got here today.
When we finish up this talk, we'll take you guys down there.
Yeah, first we're gonna show you guys the operating room pics and of me and the babies, and then
we'll go down there and you'll see them for the first time as well as I.
Yeah, we're gonna film the babies in the NICU, so you guys will be able to see that, so keep watching. I was like barely awake, so when I was looking at them, it was nighttime, and I was like so tired I couldn't even keep my eyes open. And I was like trying to like lift myself off the wheelchair, and I'm like, oh, they're so cute and small. Like I couldn't even talk, and like the nurses were looking at me like, do you feel okay? Like, you want to go back to bed? And I was like, no, I want to see them. I want to see. I was just shocked how small they were. The nurses actually said that the babies are a good size for 30 weeks for triplets. And I'm surprised because to me, they're so tiny. Like, very tiny, and they have a bunch of tubes and help their breathing, and they actually can't even get breast milk or formula yet because they can't digest it yet. So for now, they're just getting fluids and nutrients, and then in a few days they're gonna slowly start giving them like a tiny bit of breast milk. I've been trying to pump for them. My milk hasn't come in yet, but I'm pumping a little bit. Like I get a little bit of colostrum and I bring it down to them, and they save it in the freezer for when they can have it. Oh, and the babies are actually going to be staying in the NICU till their due date, which was supposed to be their due date July 25th. So they're going to be in here for a while, like 2 months. But they said if they do really well, one of them or two of them can come home sooner. Or if they all do really well, they can all come home like a week or two sooner than July 25th. So hopefully they won't have to stay that long, but we're obviously going to have to come visit them. Well, I want to come visit them. We're gonna come like every day or every other day, like how often we can. And I'm gonna try and pump and bring over breast milk. And as I was looking at them in the NICU, they brought me to see Esther, which is baby A, Evelyn, which is baby B, and Eliana, which is baby C. And I was just looking at all of them and how cute they were. And then after that, while I was looking at Eliana, which is baby C, like I felt so sick and nauseous. I could barely move. I could barely keep my head up. It just felt so heavy. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I'm gonna throw up. And they like fast bring me like a container that they found. And like right then and there, I just like threw up a bunch, like 4 times repeatedly. And they were like, okay, we're gonna have to get you back to bed. And I was like, okay, yeah, like I really don't feel good. So I took a quick look at all of them again, and then they took me back to my room. I'm doing a little better now. I can walk now and get up. The first day or two, I was like really lightheaded and I could like barely stand. The nurses had to help me go to the bathroom and do anything. It was hard, but now it's getting a little better, but I still have a lot of pain. And now we're gonna head over to the NICU to see the babies.
I am so excited to finally see those little cuties.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited to see his reaction. But first we're gonna show you guys some pictures that the nurse took of the operating room and of me and the babies.
Okay, let's go.
Head in there now.
Yeah. I wonder if it's better without crazy lights.
That's baby A.
This is Esther. This is Esther, baby A.
She's so small.
Yeah, like compared to like my hand and then baby. For now, this is the tubes to help them breathe for oxygen. And that's around the eyes for now because the jaundice light is on. She has a little bit of jaundice, so the blue light was on. They had to cover her eyes. Yeah, this is
She's so beautiful.
Esther, baby A. Yeah. They're so little and precious. Oh, she's moving. This is Evelyn, baby B. She has a little bit of jaundice too. So, but it's nothing to worry about. They're just treating it with the light. It's not that bad.
She's so tiny. Look at her little toes.
Yeah.
Wow.
They look big when on video and pictures, but they're actually pretty small.
Wow.
But they say they're pretty good size for 30 weeks. Yeah. Can't really see the faces.
They actually have a good amount of hair.
The band is on the eyes too.
Amelia and Samuel were born with like.
Yeah, they have quite a bit of hair. The band is in the eyes to protect the eyes from the light that's treating the jaundice for their skin. That's everyone. This is baby C, Eliana.
Wow.
She has a little bit of jaundice now too. She didn't have it before, but now she has a little bit, so they're treating it.
She's so cute.
Yeah, yesterday I was actually able to see all of their faces. We have some pictures. We can probably throw those in there for now.
They actually all have a decent amount of hair on their head. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
They're so precious, all three of them.
I know.
Can't wait to bring them home.
I can't wait until they grow a little bit and they're able to get some tubes off of them and get out of this thing and come home. So babe, what did you think about the babies?
They're so cute. They're so precious. Just when I first saw them, I didn't know that they'd be that small. In the pictures that I saw, the same ones that we showed you guys, they look like pretty decently sized. I had no idea they'd be that small. You know, you kind of feel bad for them when you see how tiny they are with all the different things going on, you know, with the tubes and the wires and all that, but I know that they're in good hands. I know the doctors here are great, the nurses are amazing, and just how I know my wife's gonna be fine, I know that they're gonna be fine. Look at this strong, beautiful woman.
Yeah, I honestly wish there was something I can do for the babies, a way that I can help them, but like I feel helpless, like there's nothing we can do. Just pray and hope that they make it through this, and so far they're doing good. And we can't touch them yet because they were born at 30 weeks, they're so small, they're at risk of infection. So hopefully in a week or two, they said we'll be able to hold them for the first time, and we'll get that on video for you guys too, and for us to have to look back to. It's gonna be crazy to look back like a year later. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you guys enjoyed our birth vlog, and I can't wait until we can take the babies home and hold them and just take care of them. And once they come off the tubes, like I'll feel a lot better knowing that they're not in the incubator on tubes and stuff. And it just, I hate seeing them like that. They're so small and precious. I can't wait till the day comes. I can't wait till the day comes so we can take them home.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching our triplet birth vlog, and we'll see you all in the next one.